Let's go. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Opti. We are back for another TTO. Apologize for the intro. YouTube was not catching us, but doesn't matter. I will edit that out. Anyways, we are back for another TTO. Today is July 11th, and we got I think you guys are going to like this one. It's been a minute since I had a stupidly bullish and optimistic TTO. We got a little bit into the weeds the last couple of weeks, and Ivan hit me up, and he's like, look, bro, I think I got a solid message. I think it's going to fit perfectly with the TTO theme. And it's about all the stuff I love to talk about, you know, not only the philosophy, the psychology, but where Bitcoin is taking us into the future. I got a little bit of tidbits, but I kind of told Ivan to let's hold this for the show. So without further ado, let's bring on Ivan. And I would try to say your last name, but I am so bad at saying names and reading words in general. So Ivan, introduce yourself for the people that don't know. What are you doing in Bitcoin? And glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this chat particularly. I'm Makedonski, and I say that I am whatever Bitcoin needs me to be. So anything but developing. So yeah, if it needs me to be a marketer, I'm a marketer. If I need to do some charts, I'll do some charts. Like whatever Bitcoin needs me at that point in time, I try to be it because I really want as many people as fast as possible to come into the network because that's how we win. How much money is in that thing, it really doesn't matter. For me, it matters how many people are in it.
Love it. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I say it all the time, you know, we are all here for number go up, but the most important thing is having as many people as possible holding Bitcoin, taking Bitcoin into self custody, because it's changed my life and I've seen what it's done for countless number of my friends. And we all have the same phenomenon about you start holding Bitcoin. It literally changes your point of view, your psychology in regards to the world. You become more hopeful. You start to see the world differently, and you realize, holy snaps, I have a whole new lease on life. But anyways, you said something that might be controversial to people out there, because I think I take the opposite view, and it's back to the meme, Bitcoin is hope. I titled this one Bitcoin is love because this is what you wanted to talk about. But you have a contrarian view, I would believe, in the idea of Bitcoin is hope. And I say it all the time, Bitcoin is hope, because it really gave me a new lease on life. But I really like what you're saying right here in regards to the meme, Bitcoin is hope. So Ivan, what is your view on the mimetic of Bitcoin is hope?
I would say that Bitcoin is hope for the people that are not in it, because without Bitcoin, there is no hope for at least a big portion of them. But once you're in Bitcoin and really start understanding what is this thing, and my personal point of view was, okay, let's disprove that there's any legitimacy to everything crypto. And it's absolutely right. But you find out in the process that Bitcoin is the only thing that's true. And in the process, you find out, okay, not only that it's different than crypto, but it's different than the money that we already use in our lives. You find out what's fiat, you find out what's proof of work, like everything, all of this. And once you really uh, absorb all that information, for me, right now, Bitcoin is absolutely not hope. I'm not hopeful that the sun will rise tomorrow. I just know that it's going to happen, even if at some point it doesn't. It doesn't serve me. So I'm not hopeful. If I say, "Oh, I hope I wake up tomorrow," that means there's a chance that I won't. And at I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more, it's absolute knowing that this is going to happen, but it's hope for the people that didn't realize this. And once I know, okay, nobody can steal from me, I have my seed phrase ingrained in my personality, in my everything, and uh, I act like Bitcoin will be tomorrow, and it will. And if you have that foundation that's unmovable, unchangeable by anybody, now you can build absolutely everything that you want in your life. And if you start and write all your goals, you get in to Bitcoin because of the number go up technology. But I'm now in the number go down technology, and that serves me very well for everything that I want in my life. And that's why I would say that for the true Bitcoiners that went there, you shouldn't be hopeful. Do everything that you actually want to do. Nobody can stop you now. You just stack sats and build upon them.
I love it. I love it. I tend to agree, but I've been having conversations with one of my buddies, Mike Hobart, and he keeps telling me the same thing because I am stupidly bullish when I talk about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is like what you said, as sure as the sun rising. But he always keeps telling me constantly that we can't act like Bitcoin is inevitable because there's still so much work to be done. So, what would be your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And I do believe that the fiat system is highly incentivized to attack every single one of us. Whether they try to manipulate our minds with everything and we voluntarily sell them, or forcibly they take it from custodians, or forcibly they blame the most dominant Bitcoiners, I don't know. And in that sense, I do agree that the actual attack from the fiat system hasn't even started. And that's why it's highly, highly important for the Bitcoiners to push as hard as possible, as fast as possible for this movement to get uh, Bitcoin to as many people in a non-custodial way, because that's how we infect the system from the inside. That's how we become the spies within the fiat system, because the fiat system rolls all the way. And one of the analogies that I used in a tweet back then is that the fiat system is autoimmune disease for humanity, because it's always attacking each other. But Bitcoin, you're incentivized to cooperate, and that's the pill that will cure that disease from the whole humanity. And for the first time ever, humanity will be on the same level. Everything that we aspire to, whether Americans, whether whatever religion or whatever faith you have, now for the first time we have the same non-destructible floor that we are all have to comply with and build upon that. And that's why, yeah, I agree that we have to really push hard, because the fight hasn't even started in that sense. But how we win even that fight is by the adoption, and we infect the fiat system within the system. Because just like El Salvador was infected because one person, which was the main person in that country, managed to orange peel a lot of people because of his influence. I think that's how we infect the system also from the inside. It would be extremely, extremely interesting if in the Fed, all those 12 people that are talking about what are we going to do, one of them is a closeted Bitcoiner. Then it really becomes interesting, because that's how that one Bitcoiner has different incentives and could influence even indirectly or directly other people around him. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really reminds me of one of my favorite thoughts that all of history was bent around a few individuals' wills, and they're the ones that really catapulted humanity forward. And I really do think that Bitcoiners are, as a group, and I hate using the collective idea of a group of us, but I really do think there are certain individuals in Bitcoin that are thrusting humanity forward, but also everyone here. And I hate using the like Bitcoin community, but all of our individual actions are thrusting humanity forward, and soon enough, I think that every little individual action will fundamentally change the course of humanity. But there is something you just said, and I think, well, actually, there's a few things there, and I'm going to try to lean this into what the topic of today's show was. But I couldn't agree more. I think that we haven't met the big boss yet, and we are starting to get into the then they fight you stage. And I think it's just important for us to not get complacent. And this is why I also have been beating that drum of like, look, we haven't won yet. we have the checkmate move. And I agree with you. Like I like the framing that you said about let's not be hopeful here. We know what we have. And I've been kind of beating the drum on Twitter spaces of like, let's act like we have the right answered. Like, let's act like we are correct because I do believe we are. And then the other thing you said that I really love, and this is something that I try to get across to as many people as possible as well, is that Bitcoin is the great equalizer. Now humanity can play on a level playing field and provide as much value as possible, and the sats will come to you, and no longer will we be playing in a rigged game, which I think most of us Bitcoiners fundamentally latch onto first. It's like, wow, first the fiat system is rigged against us. How do we, succeed and propagate our genes and our wealth moving forward in this rigged system when it's literally rigged against you? Well, opt into Bitcoin and you can live on the most fair, the most equitable money, permissionless money in the world, freedom money, all the memes we talk about. But let's get into the topic that you really wanted to talk about today. And it's the idea of Bitcoin is love. So are we going down the Max Kaiser Bitcoin is love mimetic warfare, or do you have something else in this idea of Bitcoin is love?
Uh, I would say, just from my experience, how I got there is just seeing it in my life. That it started with a very skeptical view, a very, oh, I need to fix this problem so I have some money and I'm kind of successful. And first of all, you just sense the love that you give yourself now that you don't need to be hopeful. And you start with yourself. And once you have no fear and you have that how do I say, floor that's unmovable, and you start working without all the problems and the disincentives and all the things that are against you in the fiat system, and you just start stacking and understand the number go down technology and shout out to Jeff Boo's thesis. You just start writing the goals that you have for your life. Oh, I want a house, I want a car, I want a wife, I want kids, I want to go to a holiday, like everything that you want. And start using Bitcoin as the not a store of value, but you start using it as the unit of account for your life. And everything that you write down in that list, right now it's 2023, and right next to him, oh, the house that I want is, let's say, 5 Bitcoin. The car is half a Bitcoin, whatever it is. And then start working towards the life that you want to live. And once you see that you get closer and closer and closer to realizing your vision, your future vision, that's how, even chemically, with the dopamine that's in us, that is what would motivate us to even go faster, to go further than when we anticipated. But the fiat system is completely the opposite. If you have your written goals down, they will get further and further away from you. And pro, uh, just chemically, this machinery, the human animal, needs dopamine to pursue the goals that we want. But if the goal gets further and further away, we have a mechanism to stop us, because that's a not that's wasted energy towards those goals. And once I had that list, and so, okay, everything that I want now becomes closer, and the next year it will be even closer, and the next year it will be even closer. And that's how I really realized loving myself and achieving this goal. And not that I loved more myself, but I let go of all that negativity, all that problems, and not despair. Maybe for some people it is despair, and you get to that love place for yourself first. And once you realize that you can love yourself, then you go to the closest people next to you. And that's why, with my personal story, me losing my mother because of money, it was extremely important then to show love to everybody around me, the closest people to me. And the best way to show love is to onboard them the proper way, to explain to them, because you would want to be surrounded by those people when the tough times come. And uh, again, going back to the infecting the system, start with your loved ones. And once you surround yourself with loved ones, they will start feeling love for themselves, and they will give you back because you gave them back in a form of this new model of living. And they will expand their circle, and it's just the end goal is all humanity is absolutely equal, but we would love to share. That's the highest expression of love. We are not meant to be lonely. We are meant to be together with at least one more person so we can procreate and move on the humanity. But we are not there yet. As we started, the whole stage is for all the people that are not in it yet. Then it's the absolute belief, and then the end emotion for me would definitely be love for all humanity.
Wow, coming in strong. There's so many little threads that I can pull up on that one. But there was one thing you said, like I think it's biblical at this point. Like, let your cup overflow before you can try to help others, or pull the thorn out of your own eye before you try to pull it out of your brothers or mates or whatever the mimetic is. Or I always kind of say, and one I have a friend who told me that this is bad framing, but it's like when you are in an airplane, they always tell you put on the mask first before you try to help others. But I really love the framing, and I'm not sure it's the first time I've heard that, but I'm probably going to steal it because I always say the same thing, like pay yourself first. And I will add to my memetics of love your future self more than your present self. And by that, we mean saving sats. Make sure you're saving in Bitcoin, paying future you first, because if you don't have anything for the future, how can you deal with the uncertainty of that future? And like you're saying, there's no need to hope anymore. You just save in Bitcoin. And it's something else that I always touch on. I always say, like, orange pilling your friends and family is a true form of love. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And when they experience the next bull market, and even if they have no idea why, they would be so grateful. It's the I would say the lowest form of love, but they would be grateful, and then will it would kind of force them to see why the hell this thing happened, and why this crazy person that was chasing me for months or maybe years in some cases was so passionate about it. And they will go on that path even if they just blindly trusted you. But if you kind of forced them and you didn't show them love, that they need to be onboarded in a non-custodial manner, they will sell their position in Bitcoin. They will go back to, oh, I have problems, I need to pay my bills, like everything. They'll go back to it. But through my experience, when I showed love, I care about you, I'm not going to make absolutely anything if you buy it. This is not an investment. This is not multi-level marketing. This is not Ponzi scheme. This is absolutely nothing. This is properly engineered money for the first time uh, since gold. Like gold was the last proper money, the closest to it. But now it's absolute scarcity, and everybody will benefit from that. And just to say uh, how our community gathers around, we may fight between Bitcoiners. We may have disagreements about this or that or anything, but I absolutely believe that every single Bitcoiner is a orange brother or a sister, and we can have disagreements. But if you attack my sister, you have to go through me first. And I think all of us have that mentality. And I don't think there's probably there is somewhere some group of people, but I don't think it's that big as Bitcoiners. And we are really irritated when somebody attacks somebody that's a newbie through crypto, and that's why we attack back. But yeah, I think it really comes from the place of love. If you attack one of us, you attack all of us.
Yeah, you just made me think of like the idea of like protecting noobs from scammers is just like unconditional love out there, and understanding that you've probably been through the same thing and you're here like as a big brother trying to protect the newbies out there so that they also don't get scammed like you probably did. But there's a interesting connection there in the idea of like if we connect this with the idea, Bitcoin is love, and loving your brother as thyself, or whatever memetics you want to use. But it's very interesting if you connect that with the idea of how fiat currency is the complete opposite, and how it's stealing from the future, and how you are incentivized to lie, rob, and steal from your brother so that you can benefit in the world, but also discounting the future, or rather disregarding the future. And as a Bitcoiner, we're not only showing love to humanity that is on planet Earth now. It's like extending as much love as humanly possible to every human coming down the line from here. It's like, look, I am team human. I think that the world on a better money would improve the lives of every single one of us coming after us. And I don't know what is more honorable than to not only make that sacrifice in the moment for ourselves, stack sats for prosperity, but also understanding that if we usher in this monetary system, this Bitcoin experiment, that we really are changing the course of humanity, because fiat system has destroyed where we are right now, and it's stolen from the future. And I can't understand, or I can't think of what a higher love for future progeny of man can be than to be like, look, I will take the sacrifice. I will, put the team on my back. I will go through the monetary war so that we can usher in a better system for the future. And I think for the boomers out there, for the generations before us, they had a totally different view of the world. They're like, I just need to get what's mine and get my own little slice of the pie so that I can prosper, and fuck the future. And now we're kind of flipping that all on the head. It's like, no, not only love your future self more than the present self, but also usher in a better money and love everyone else coming after us. And so it's really interesting how Bitcoin really does flip the psychology of humanity on its head.
Absolutely. And I would say this is just the first part of flipping our behavior, because we are really dealing with Bitcoin on the first level, still first layer, and realizing what digital scarcity really means. I don't think any of us truly can grasp it. And it would be like such a shock for so many people that didn't put the 10,000 hours studying this beast of a thing. I don't think that I will also grasp the implications for it. But once you get into the Bitcoin network and you take care of yourself, if you have more, I don't think there's ever a person that if he has more than he has now, he wouldn't be willing to share a little bit more also. And if you have a little bit less, you're incentivized to not share as much. And that's what the fiat system does. Like way back when my grandma raised me of my first 6 years of childhood, and they were so sharing. Like they had stuff, they didn't have a lot of stuff, but their purchasing power wasn't like it is today. And they said, oh, my neighbor, this and that, here it is, a little gifts, let's go out, or whatever, share even moments, or share some work with them. And now, because of all this robbing, the first thing that you have to cut is, oh, I can't share because I can save myself. And now I have to work even more. Now I'm stressed, and everything else puts you in this downward spiral. And then why am I depressed? Well, you're depressed because you can't achieve the goals that you want. And not only the goals that you want, but then we are talking about just survival. And living is not about survival, and it's doing a full circle. Actually, one of the first ever tweets once I kind of became active on Twitter was to Simply Bitcoin, and uh, sending the hierarchy of needs of Maslow. And then it was really the buying Bitcoin is the physiological needs, then it's non-custodial, then it's multi-sig and everything. And we, all of us want self-actualization. And when you self-actualize absolutely everything that you want, whether it's financial goals, material goals, or spiritual goals, if you have the first layer, okay, I'm secure about my health, I'm secure about my employment or what I want to do, then you build your career. When you have your career, then I want the crazy stuff that I want to have. When you have absolutely everything that you ever wanted to achieve, when you actualize it materially in your life, why wouldn't you share? Uh-huh. Absolutely everyone around you will be the same way. And I think not only through technology we'll see this deflationary force, but if we start sharing with our neighbors more, in 10 years, in 20 years, we'll share even more. And this is also a deflationary force, because not only through technology gives you more, but your neighbor will give you more. And it's just, uh, when I start thinking about this, it's again a spiral. And when you talk about all of this vision to somebody that doesn't see it like we see it, it's, oh, this is a cult. Like, they can't relate in any shape or form because they have those fiat glasses. That's how they view the world. And that's why Simply Bitcoin and every content creator out there is the very first step, the hugely important step, to just uh, show them the light just from one way, one meme, one podcast, one blog, or whatever it is that will resonate to one person. And it's just hugely important part right now. And let's start with the education, but then the really exciting stuff happen when we actually build every single one of us on top of Bitcoin.
Wow, well, I'm getting bullish already. But there's a few things that I want to talk about. I mean, the last thing you kind of reminded me of was like the Medici family and patrons of the arts. Maybe moving forward, we'll have more of like patrons of the Bitcoiners, just people that the whales out there that have stupid amount of coins, and they just see someone doing some cool stuff and they're like, look, I want to share with you so that you can continue to do what you're doing. And then on another point, and I fully agree with this idea that you just laid out, this, people are really too bearish when it comes to digital scarcity. I really think humans don't understand what that means. And we're just so caught up in the 15-year journey that is Bitcoin so far, and the how high the Bitcoin price has run, and everyone's like, oh, it can never go higher. And I just always think, I'm like, guys, you guys are so bearish. And I try to temper my bullishness, but digital scarcity, I think few people understand what that means. And I think our brains can't even really fathom what digital scarcity means, especially considering how many trillions of dollars are sloshing around in the fiat world. And the fact that Bitcoin will be that black hole, that vacuum that sucks up all the value. But question for you. How long did it take you on this Bitcoin journey to come to this level of Bitcoin Zen? Because I always joke about Bitcoin Zen, and just like once you see it and you understand, you like calm down and you just get so excited about the future that it's hard to comprehend or even like contain yourself sometimes. You're just like, wow, the future is going to be so awesome.
I would say it took me about 3 months to have that first experience of that excitement, but it's just because you start realizing what it could be. But it's just in one small point of view. Then in the journey, let's say in 2 months, I think about something completely different, how that thing is going to revolutionize everything. And then that excitement intensifies again. And I think like every month or two at the most, I have this super excitement that I can't contain. And I'm like, I can't sleep. Like, this will change everything. Uh, and I don't know if it is the same with you, but it just, if I live this excitement all the time, I wouldn't be able to do work. But this really motivates me to do that work and do the grind when I have to do the grind. But that's my personal experience. E- extreme excitement happens when I realize how Bitcoin will change a particular segment of humanity, of the economy, of whatever. And because money touches everything, it will revolutionize everything. And we just can't grasp it. And when you said how much is digital scarcity, I said to myself, when I realized what Bitcoin is, I'm devoting the rest of my working career to Bitcoin. I will be whatever Bitcoin needs me to be. And how much is the value of my working career to the rest of my life? Then multiply that by 8 billion people. Then multiply that by the time saved from technology. Then multiply that by everything else. Like Bitcoin, about millions, about billions, I think it's too bearish. I think in our life, it would go to trillions, not only because it will be inflated into trillions, but it's just we can't comprehend that value.
Wow. Did I hear you correctly? You said Bitcoin is worth trillions per coin?
Absolutely. Seriously, how much is your life worth? Your working career worth? Then multiply that by 8 billion. And I would say you could start getting to the number.
Let's go. I thought we were going to get more philosophical, but we can get stupidly bullish too. I have a question though, and maybe this is me being, devil's advocate or whatever, or just trying to keep myself honest. Do you think we're falling into like utopian tropes or utopian ideals about what Bitcoin is because it's changed our lives so much that we, overlay this utopian dream of a better world, or are we just understanding that moving forward, if you fix the money, you will fix the world. And from where we're looking at right now, it does seem like utopia.
I would say, yeah, it is utopia because it's this vision, but because it's based on engineering, it's absolutely possible. Exactly how it will manifest, nobody can predict. But we talked offline that economists don't build things. When you go to somebody and say, I want a building to be built, you don't go to the economists. They will say, oh, the foundation needs to be less money because of whatever. Or when the construction workers build the building, they would say, oh, put 2% each year on top of that building. And if you live that utopia, oh, this is going to the moon. The engineering and gravity will show you that you're just not connected to reality. But Bitcoin, because it's connected to energy, because it's absolutely properly engineered money, then all that vision is possible. Like it's not something virtual, it is virtual in our minds now, but because we know it's possible, we will start building that future. And maybe we don't actually see it, maybe our kids, maybe our grandkids, but we are definitely going that way. And Bitcoin is not shrinking and it's not slowing down. Fiat is trying to grasp and slow us down or whatever. They will lose that fight. But take care of the people around you. They will be there to protect you in the hard times, as I talked previously. Everything else will take care of itself because of the incentives. And later on, I will just mention that this is just the first stage, what we experienced about the first layer. I kind of realized the Lightning Network, the second layer, will absolutely change behavior in such a profound way for me that I got excited like 2 weeks ago when I realized it. And yeah.
Well, let's get into that because that's a topic that you wanted to touch on. How has the Lightning Network changed your behavior? Or you can get more cosmic. How will Lightning change the behavior of humanity at large?
Yeah, I would say I'll start a little bit of my personal experience again. That I was a manager in different industries, in different teams, in different companies, and always there was kind of a struggle between employees and employers. The employees, most of the time, receive money for their time. And we say time is money or whatever. But the physics understanding is that work is force times displacement. This is the physical definition. And when you put a brick where you are going to build a wall, the benefit of placing that brick you receive immediately when you place it to the proper place. And if you have to move it, you do the work, and you get the benefit at the moment that you place it. This is exactly what the Lightning Network will start giving to the working space. Everybody that is receiving money for time over time will be completely changed by not I'm paying you a daily wage, weekly wage, or monthly wage. I'm going to pay you by work done. And just to make the analogy even more clear, let's say we are building a building again. If the construction company hires a bunch of employees, they will pay them wages. But the contractor needs to finish the building in order to receive the money. And it's a direct conflict. The worker is incentivized to do as little work as possible for as long as possible because that's the incentive of his money in the pocket. And the construction company is a reverse thing. They need to do the work as fast as possible for as little money as possible. And that's a direct conflict in every single company between managers and employees. But now, because the Lightning Network will facilitate instant micropayments and other payments in the future once the infrastructure is built, now you can pay that employee not by time, but oh, you laid 300 bricks today, and now you can calculate each brick how much it is, and you receive a portion of the whole contract because of the work done. The construction company receives at the same time their percentage, and the person that is paying or the investor or whoever is paying for the project actually pays at the same time because it's a split payment to them. Just like the podcasting right now through Lightning, you can pay or stream sats to podcasters, and you can split it. Oh, the podcast receives this, the host receives this, the person that is interviewed receives this, or however you want to split it. Everybody receives at the same time, but at the moment of the value given. And I would say this will be brought to every single work out there, and it will completely switch the behavior of the employees. Everybody that receives money for their time will be completely abolished, and they wouldn't have to be managed by managers because you do work, you receive money. You don't do work, you don't receive money. And this was like mind blowing for me. That just like Sinote is streaming sats for energy, this is coming absolutely everywhere. And I don't know what your thoughts about this, but I'm hugely, hugely, hugely bullish about Bitcoin because next Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely agree with the next Bitcoin is Bitcoin. I'd have to think through the process that you just elaborated on, but it really did make me think of, look, we're a YouTube channel and we're huge, and I say it all the time, we're huge free market maxis in the sense that like we understand that there's a free market of attention out there, and if we drop a video and no one likes it, doesn't get the views, then we have to come back. But we get that instant feedback of like, oh, is this working? Is this not working? There's not much lag between what we do and the free market of attention. And that made me think of like, okay, maybe we will facilitate like I don't know, a hyperloop view of the free market of the economy where like if you aren't get you don't have to wait those weeks or months to get that feedback of monetary payment for your things. It's just like if you do it instantly, you will get the sats instantly. And if it doesn't work, you just retry new ideas. And the amount of movement of how quickly businesses will start to spring up, I think it's going to be mind blowing. And I don't know. I don't know if that's the same thought as what you're talking about, but that was the first thing that kind of popped in my head. Is like we're free market maxis, but in the
Yeah.
sense of attention. And I think in real time, there will
Replicate
be.
it. Yeah, replicate that free market for every industry. Like
Yeah.
I just said in the construction, now you don't have to manage your workers. Now it's a free market between all the workers out there competing for that job to be the best job possible because they would hire that employee for this job. And let's say you do windows, I do walls, somebody does the roofs, and you're paid for a very small amount of work instantly. There is no risk to the employee receiving the money because he's doing. If you're doing a bad job, you're fired and you're hiring somebody that's better. And it will be incentivized just like for the podcast, you're fighting for the attention. But for everything that's moving through time and space, it will be a fight for the best job done. Just in the podcasting place is the attention medium. But everywhere else, it's the physical definition. Work is force times displacement. So you're moving bricks faster than somebody else. Great. You're placing them the proper way. Great. You're competing against everybody else, and companies would hire you. But right now, because you're disincentivized to put it as fast as possible, and also how many times we've seen somebody does work just to the barest quality possible just to receive the salary. Like again, this is the, even if they don't realize it, the subconscious mind realizes I do as little as possible and I receive as much as possible. That's my incentive. And now it's flipped on its head, and all the employees will completely switch. So every job that you see out there and that I see that is receiving money for time will be changed with the Lightning Network.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still wrapping my head around this, but I'm thinking of when I used to work by the hour. I think everyone that works by the hour understands one thing, and it's the idea of like, don't get the job done too quickly. Get a nice
Yeah,
pace so that you can, make this job last for as long as possible. Or rather, just clock in for your 8 hours and just make sure that whatever you have to get done that day lasts you 8 hours. Versus now in the Bitcoin standard, it's like, okay, I got to do as much as humanly possible so that we can get the sats in. And if we don't get it done, then you're never going to get them sats flowing to you. So I think there will be a certain amount of behavior that changes. But I have one kind of thought, contrarian thought, maybe in my head here in regards to this. Is like, I don't think we understand what the free market price of labor actually is, whether that's manual, physical, or intellectual labor right now, because we have been so detached from reality that, like, athletes are paid the most on planet Earth. It's because they're a distraction. People that build houses are paid minimal. And it's like, I think in time we will get a free market price of, what labor is the most beneficial for society. But this might take a long time, and it's kind of kudos to your idea. And I say the same thing. I think I'm going to be doing this Bitcoin thing for the rest of my life. I better prepare for the long run. So what would be your thoughts on that?
uh, just by you speaking about this, maybe another thought about the sportsman is that there is also a free market competition, because I'm not talking the people that monetize the whole sport or everything around it, but in a sport it's absolute free market competition about fighting for the trophy. Like you have to be the best to win the game, the baseball match, the basketball match, like whatever sport. That's a free market competition in play, and it inspires cooperation between teams. Uh, and when it's a team sport, or if you're individualist, you go fight at it. But it's an absolute free market dynamics about the trophies. The monetizing aspect is completely different, and maybe they don't deserve as much, or probably the workers in the construction side deserve more, closer to them. But again, you provoke that thought that just because of that free market incentive, the best players in the world don't get in the sport because of the money first. Maybe they aspire, nobody wants to be poor, but they get in to compete. But because there is no free market about competing in your job, I always hated when I was unemployed. I did three times as much my quota or whatever I was doing compared to the person next to me, and we received the same salary. Like, how is that free market? Like, no free market just because you're paying by the hour. But sportsmen, they're incentivized. Even if I receive less money than you, on the field, we are equal and we fight for it. We want to prove that we are the best. But again, there's no free dynamic in the working labor force. So just a thought that I never thought about. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Moving forward, Bitcoin will fundamentally change every aspect of humanity, especially considering, like you mentioned earlier, and as all of us Austrian Bitcoin economists understand, money is one half of every transaction. So you fix the money, everything else will follow suit. But I do kind of want to pivot because we are on the last, I don't know, 15 minutes, and I heard you say something that I thought was very interesting on one of your recent podcast appearances. And it was a quote that your mother said, actually. And I absolutely love this quote because I kind of say it in my own way all the time. But you said that your mom would always tell you that you need to make your own small kingdom. And I absolutely love that idea because I say it all the time. Like I think what I'm trying to do here, and I'm gonna use one of my friends' memes as well. Like I'm not stacking sats for my first name, I'm stacking sats for my last name. And I think being a Bitcoiner, what I'm trying to do is build a better legacy for my family, whether they're alive now or whether my future family, God willing, I have kids, and I want to provide for them more than I had in this lifetime. And I understand now the dynamics of money. And I think we're all trying to build, kingdoms, bloodlines of kingdoms out there and build a little empire following me. Like I jokingly say, I'm trying to build an army of offspring. And I absolutely love that idea of what you said your mom would say. You got to think about making your own small kingdom. So maybe elaborate on this one and connect it to the Bitcoin idea of maybe citadels, or I don't know. Where are you taking this?
Yeah, that was her thing, definitely. And just because she managed to be a very, I would say, the most successful person in all of our relatives. She was born in a village, with 300 houses, and in her lifetime, she managed to become a millionaire. And she never wanted to be this huge big thing. Like, she was fighting, I want the life that I want, and if I have the life that I want, everybody around with me will be better. And but in order to grasp this idea and everything that meant, that was her saying, build your own small kingdom. So that, for me, it meant that uh, start envision the life that you want to live. Start envision the people that you want to be surrounded by. And definitely don't allow the people that you don't want to be surrounded by. And make invisible or visible force a small one, just enough for your particular vision. So you and the people that you love are protected. And because there are so many forces against us in just natural life, and as we talked in the beginning, the big fight haven't even started yet. So the more decentralized small kingdoms we have full of Bitcoiners, the better our chances are. And this hope for humanity that we started from is not hope for anybody else. We are just brothers and sisters on the real human level, and we build everything that we want. I can't imagine uh, what 8 billion people striving towards the same kind of goals, same ideals could build. And maybe we could grasp it at the end of our personal lives, but I'm so excited for really the humanity. Uh, we talked about the stupid bullish price, but I don't care really about the money. Now I know that it's all about our lives and helping the person next to you. That's what's really important. You can't really take everything with you once you're gone, even though Bitcoin changed even that. But the things that you remember when we all get old is you will cherish your life by am I loved again. It's not going to be how much money I really have. And if that is your end goal, while you're dying at the end of your life, how much money you had, like reevaluate your values. That's my advice.
Love it. I say it all the time as well. Something similar, and it's been throughout this whole journey of being on the media front lines and trying to understand a better way to orange pill people, and working on my memetics and my rhetoric, and some might say my propaganda. I probably would say that, but
Yeah.
I am convinced that people just want to live a good life. And right now, they don't understand what the best way to go about that is. They've been gaslit, they've been psyoped. They don't understand how the financial world works by design, and it's upon every single one of us to spread the freedom tools, the number go up technology that is Bitcoin, because it will fundamentally help people live a better life. And I really like how you just said it, because I said the same thing multiple times before in the past, that Bitcoin allows you to live the life you want. And I couldn't agree more. I feel like this is what I'm doing. And I understand that if we have 8 billion people working towards what they believe to be the life that they want, how could we not live in a better world? I'm maybe it's my naive, optimistic Bitcoiner point of view, but I'm just convinced if everyone is working towards what is best for themselves and their family, then on a global level, the world will be moving towards a better place. And this is why, I think we're both Bitcoiners. This is why we have dedicated the rest of our lives to spreading this message, and why we wake up every day, be a part of the grind, be a part of the roller coaster ride that is human emotions. Because I really do believe, in the same way that I think you believe, that Bitcoin allows humanity to live a better life, but not even to get so abstract. Like, it allows you and I to live the life that we want to, and provide our skill set to the best of our abilities towards something that we think is furthering humanity, versus just, cashing in on a paycheck and clocking in at 9 and clocking out at 5, and just being a part of the rat race and getting grinded out. It's like, it really does feel like working in Bitcoin, we are able to not only, pay ourselves first, but usher in a world that we can only dream of right now. And some might call that stupidly bullish. Some might call it hopeful, optimistic, naively optimistic. But I really do believe that that's where we're going right now. We're here to create a better world.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whatever your vision is, I bet that once you started building on Bitcoin, that vision is getting closer. Even if we're not there yet, we're getting closer. So that means that it's possible. Even if it changes, not exactly the way that you want, but the closer you are, the faster you will go towards it, the more motivated you will be going towards that vision. And we I'm kind of not worried, but conscious about only one thing, that Bitcoiners need to stay on message, and they need to stay focused, because it's really attention focused about self sovereign 8 billion people, peer to peer transactions, all of that. because if we get distracted by, oh, how many likes we have, or uh, our company doesn't treat me as good, or whatever it is, don't get distracted from the main message. Those, let's say, if you have a million followers in Instagram or whatever it is, this is a tool that should facilitate your vision to come closer. Don't get distracted and focus on the tools, but the vision. So that, I would say, is kind of the final message to every Bitcoiner out there. Stay on message. 8 billion self-sovereign people on the planet. And freedom is finally possible for humanity. And yeah, let's orange fill the world.
I love it. I love it. I take a little more pessimistic view on things that are more cynical, I would say. I always say like no one really cares about the intricacies about Bitcoin. It's how can they get their vision done or facilitated through Bitcoin. And I think that that's pretty much what we're saying. Like no one cares about the inner workings of their iPhone or the Android. They just want to, or their computer. All they want to do is whatever, make music, watch cat videos, connect with their loved ones, do the things that they want to do. And I couldn't agree more. I think it's there's something to the idea of like don't bog people down with all the details, the finer details. All they need to know is the fundamentals. Like take Bitcoin into self custody, 21 million hard cap, final settlement in 10 minutes, or instant settlement on Lightning, and just start to build the things you want to see in the world. And I couldn't agree more. And then on this last point, or maybe one more question, but I usually like to ask the same question to people, especially when we get cosmic. Do you think that Bitcoin is the greatest invention ever, up there with the fire and the wheel?
There is definitely a debate about if it is an invention and it is discovery. And I go back and forward from one to the other, which was the invention and which was the discovery. But I think is because it's built on top of a lot of other inventions and discoveries, I would definitely put it the highest up to date.
Let's go. Okay. It's hard for me to say, but I do kind of feel like Bitcoin might be the best invention ever. But there's some other cool inventions in there as well. But just to put a bow tie on this conversation, it started with Bitcoin is love. We got a little cosmic, we got a little bullish. But on a personal level, what do you love about Bitcoin the most? Or rather, how has Bitcoin changed your life the most? And we'll roll this one out on that.
Uh, I would say you just it gave me an incredible external family of brothers and sisters, and incredible humility. How little I actually know. I was always learning and pushing myself towards. And once I saw what this thing is, I adapted to it, even my personal goals. I always thought I want to be an entrepreneur, and now I think I'm just here to serve. If I have to be a janitor, I have to be an employee, like whatever. I am whatever Bitcoin needs me to be and whatever I can give to Bitcoin. And that humility and just accelerating and seeing and experiencing the love in my life and the people around me feeling it more and more, just that thing alone without any money is just worth the price. So I would say that is the biggest thing that Bitcoin gave me to my life up to date.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I say it all the time, and sometimes I forget my own memes, but I say it all the time in a very similar way. I'm like, provide value to your fellow man, serve your fellow man, and the sats will flow your way. And I think few people forget that what you're doing as a business, as an entrepreneur, is solving people's problems. And what more is solving people's problems and serving your fellow man, seeing what they need and trying to provide a solution so that people's lives get better. And I really do think that's what every Bitcoiner out there is trying to do, whether it's making content, whether it's, being a coder, whether it is doing marketing for the businesses, so that people understand that these tools are available and all you need to do to live a better life is adopt them today. So, Ivan, really appreciate it. Let's plug your Twitter or wherever people can find you. I got your Twitter account over here, but what are you working on, and what do you want people to look out from you for?
Uh, I would say I'm in every social media because I'm one of the two more public faces from Breez. So Twitter, I'm Naku2000 and ACK2000. And I want Nostr to be further developed, and I'm trying to push it a little bit, but I'm definitely not a professional content creator. But expanding the network there, I would say those are the two best ways to reach me. And if you're an Orange brother, we are already connected in so many ways. If you're just a human, I'm a fellow human. Let's meet, let's talk, let's chat, whatever it is, and let's orange build the world.
Well, Ivan, I really appreciated this. This lifted my spirits personally, and I'm sure it got some people's spirits lifted in the chat as well. So, really appreciate it, bro. Stick around and behind the scenes while I roll this one out, and we will end this TTO, guys. I know this one. I'm going all over the place with the TTOs. Sometimes we'll get a little technical. Sometimes we'll get a little intricate in what's going on in the world. Sometimes we'll get philosophical and bullish, but it's all simply Bitcoin TTO. So I really hope you appreciated this show. I hope you guys got a little bit of not only wisdom but love through this channel, so that you can go out there and spread that simply Bitcoin message, and not just us simply Bitcoin, but that it's Bitcoin only. This is the way. This is how we usher in a better world. And go and orange pill a loved one this week, whether you do it with tact or like a crazy Bitcoiner. The goal is getting people to hold Bitcoin, and you just got to plant them seeds. This is all we're doing. We are walking hyper Bitcoinization into the present day. Love yourself, save in Bitcoin, spread the Bitcoin world word, love your friends and family, and orange pill every single person you come across. Anyways, guys, I'll see you tomorrow at our normal show, 12:10 p.m. Eastern, or 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. Sorry, on YouTube. And we're out, guys. Peace out.